Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista. We are outside because we are going to go and harvest all of our beets. They were planted in an area that unfortunately did not get enough sun and they didn't get super big. And I've noticed that the pest pressure is actually getting pretty bad on them. So I thought we might as well pull them all now. And then what my plan is to do is, because they are so small, I'm wanting to actually can them whole, which is perfect. It's a pressure canner recipe, but that's okay. It's nice and hot outside, so I don't mind being inside. So let's go and get these beets all harvested. I've got my big basket here. I love this basket. I actually picked it up at an estate sale, and it is perfect for harvesting big bulky things like these beets. This is my beet bed here. It's a really small beet. I actually did square foot gardening with this, so these had enough space. They do look kind of crammed in there, but they actually did have enough recommended space in them. So the only reason they didn't get super big is because, again, I know it looks like it has full sun, but this bed actually gets quite a bit of shade here. So I left a whole bunch of beets in there because they were so small, and I'm hoping that because we've kind of cleared some of them out, this bed will get a little bit more sun on the ones that were shaded. So we're just gonna leave those in, and maybe I can harvest them in the next couple of weeks. I am planning on shooting a garden tour for you guys because the garden has changed so much since my last tour that I did with you guys. I have pulled so much stuff out and replaced it with new stuff. So I'm hoping to potentially get that garden tour film for you guys in the next couple of days so I can show you everything that's changed and all the new stuff I've put in. It is a beautiful windy day out, and I put my clothes out to dry. They dry so much quicker in this heat and wind. I love it. I love having this clothesline. So I have my beets sitting here in the shade. I think what I'm going to do is take you guys back and show you really quick what my back garden looks like. It has changed so much, and I'm so excited to show you guys, and I can't wait to do a garden tour, but I'm just going to give you a little sneak peek of what it's looking like. It's not the idealist time to be out here because the sun is definitely very, very bright right now, and it's actually pretty windy, so I hope you guys can hear me okay. Here's a little update on the turkeys. They are getting huge. They still have 2 months left to grow. Here is a little sneak peek of the garden, all of its green glory. We got some rain last night, and this garden is just loving it. We've got watermelon growing right there. We've got some squashes. I'm gonna save some of the hidden treasures to show you guys in the garden tour, but the corn is getting huge. These are all the tomatoes, and they did really, really well last night. I did lose a couple of branches off of some of them because the wind got really crazy, but other than that, they're doing really, really good. Look at this superstar of a plant. This is my black beauty. So gorgeous. Look at these tomatoes. I love them. Do need to get in here and kind of put this guy up because this branch will break off. That's what's happening with a lot of my tomato plants, is that the branches, I'm not trellising them properly and they're getting too heavy. And then once they get a lot of fruit on them, they're actually snapping in half. So I'm trying to be more aware of that and getting out here and actually trellising them correctly so that I don't lose a whole bunch of tomatoes. So this is what I'm talking about by my branches are breaking. I'm actually taking the branches and I have them sitting in a little bit of water here in my windowsill, because what I'm trying to do, if you can see on this, see how it's starting to get roots? So I'm just letting them root up, and then what I'll do is once they get their roots formed, I'm gonna take them outside and plant them. I have a whole bunch of areas where I just pulled some stuff where I can get those in the ground, and then hopefully, because they're kind of small, hopefully by fall I'll be able to get kind of like a fall harvest of tomatoes, and I'll be able to kind of keep in tomatoes until we get our first frost. So that is my hope, to try to salvage those ones. I think one of them is a giant crimson and the other one is a pineapple. And the pineapple tomato variety is actually my favorite variety. It is so delicious. The canning recipe that we're using today is going to be from this cookbook. It is on page 389. Like I said before, it is a pressure canning recipe, but I'm actually excited to do this pressure canning recipe today because a couple of you guys have actually recommended that I get a weighted thing for my pressure canner so that I can kind of walk away and it stays at 10 pounds of pressure. So I finally bit the bullet and I purchased one of these from Amazon. I will leave the link for you guys if you are interested. It says it's supposed to work with my pressure canner. I did try to fit it on and everything looks good. So this is going to be its first test run to see if in fact I can walk away for a couple minutes and have it stay kind of at that 10 pounds of pressure. We have all of our beets in here. Beets, you can actually eat the top of them and they taste like a collard green kind of. They are super, super healthy for you. If I had a freeze dryer, these would be really perfect to like freeze dry and make like a powder so that I could add it to like smoothies and stuff. I don't have a freeze dryer. I do have a dehydrator and I essentially could do the same thing with them. It is a little busy for me right now, so I think what we'll do today is we're just gonna get these beets kind of preserved up, and then my chickens are going to have a beautiful snack of beet greens. My chickens and my turkeys. So what we have to do first is we need to get these beets in a pot of boiling water, and we have to boil these for about 15 to 25 minutes. What we're trying to do is just get the beets not cooked, but get them so that we can get the skins off, because you can't can them with the skins on. And because some of these beets are pretty small, like I said, it was they were small because of where they were. We're gonna can them whole instead of slicing them. Usually I slice them up into like dices and then can them that way, but these are really small, so they're perfect candidates for canning whole. I have actually heard that beets, when they are smaller, they actually taste a little bit more sweeter and not so earthy. So I guess this will be a test to see if we prefer them smaller or if, like I normally can them, like the bigger beets. So I think what we'll do is we will get started and get all of these greens cut off of it and see all of these roots and stuff and the dirt. We'll get all of that. It's getting all over my floor also. So we'll get all of that cut off and we'll get these cleaned, and then I have a pot over here on my stove. We'll get that filled with water and then we'll get these boiling. I am going to have to sweep my floor after. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to take these tops off. It does recommend leaving a little tiny bit on the top and then just kind of get these longer roots off. And then I'm going to put them in here and rinse it off. This was one of my golden beets, so it is like a yellow beet kind of. Some of these beets got bigger than other ones. got the beets all cleaned up. Some of the beets were actually a pretty good size. Like a couple of them were pretty big, but the majority of them were pretty small. But that's fine. This year, I kind of said that I really wanted to focus on learning how to grow beets the right way. And so that was a lesson learned, that you need to make sure they're in more of a full sun spot and not get as much shade as they did. Some of them were definitely ready to harvest though, because they were like completely out of the soil. And one thing that I have read is that is what they say, you know, a beet is ready to get harvested when it is completely showing up out of the soil. So all of these were almost completely, all of them popped up out of the soil. So they definitely were ready to harvest. So what I'm doing right now is I just have a pot of water over there coming to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, actually, I think before it comes to a boil, we'll get these put in. I think these are very similar to a potato, the way that you do it. So we'll just get these into the pot right now. I'm gonna actually try to keep similar sizes with similar sizes, because these all will not fit in this pot. If you have a nice big stock pot, you could definitely do this all at once, but I don't have one, unfortunately, yet. So we'll just boil the smaller ones first. They'll take probably about 15 minutes. That's good for the first batch. So we'll get these boiling, again, probably about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back, and once they are done boiling for that 15 minutes, we are going to actually fill this bowl up with some ice water, and we're gonna get them put into an ice bath, and then we'll be able to apparently peel the skins off really easily. These beets are done cooking, so we need to get these into a water bath. I'm just gonna actually strain them out right now, because I'm gonna get some fresh water in there and get that fresh water boiling. So let's get them strained out. Actually, I gotta get some ice in there first. We're gonna get these other ones going in here in the water. Right, so these are supposed to just, yep, they just peel right off. So we're gonna get the skins removed off of these guys. Get them put into here. Have them all peeled finally. I always forget every time I start a canning project how actually labor intensive it is just getting them ready to actually can. The canning part goes together like really quick. It's just the preparation before. So we have, as you can see here, about half a bowl full of beets. So I have my mason jars out. I have hot mason jars. I have some hot boiling water. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get our beets and just put them into the mason jar. What I'm thinking I wanna do is keep all of the golden beets together and then keep the red beets separate, because the golden beets, as soon as I put them in with the red beets, they'll just get dyed. So I kind of wanna keep them just separate. They're already pretty much dyed from being boiled with them, but we'll try to preserve some of the flavor. Let's get these beets into these jars now. What I'm doing is, if I'm seeing like anything like this really long end here, I'm just cutting that off. As you can see, when you fit them in with the hole, you don't fit much in. The reason I'm actually canning these in pint-sized jars instead of quart size is because I'm really the only one that likes to eat beets. When the kids are here, they like to eat beets, but then I can just take 2 of these out and that's fine. But for me and Steven, it's just me that's gonna eat this. So that's why I'm doing them in pint-sized jars. And then you wanna leave an inch of head space in the jar. So the odd big ones that we have, I am actually going to end up just cutting these up, and I'm just gonna quarter them. Last one I mixed because I didn't quite have enough to fill it, so it's a little bit low, but that's fine. We'll just put the water up to the 1-inch headspace. So let's get them filled with the water. I have my pressure canner back here, and I'm just getting it warmed up so that when I put this hot stuff, I have a hot pressure canner to put it into. I've made an absolute mess of these jars trying to get these filled up. I usually make a pretty good mess when canning. So I'm just gonna get these rims cleaned off with some white vinegar, and then we'll get the lids on them. Gonna fasten the rings on until they are fingertip tight. Put these in here. We're gonna wait until this little thing has popped up. Once that's popped up, then we're gonna let it vent for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, we will come and we will put our weighted gauge on it and then bring it up to, I had to double check, 10 pounds of pressure. It's usually 10 pounds of pressure where I live. I am under 1,000 feet elevation, so my pounds of pressure is usually 10 to 11 pounds per pressure. This Ball Blue Book does have a little diagram in here telling you what pounds per pressure you need based on what your elevation is, and you can actually just easily find your elevation by just going into Google and just typing what's my elevation for, and then you can put your address in and it will tell you, and then you know what to do there. So for the pints, because we are doing pints, we need 30 minutes. If you were doing quarts, you would need 35 minutes. So that's not that bad. It's not like an hour-long process, so that's really, really nice. I love canning projects that are like under 30 minutes to do, because then I don't feel so much like I'm babysitting, but things like that are like 90 minutes, it's just like, oh my gosh. So today it's gonna be the experiment because we're gonna be using our new weighted gauge. So we're gonna get this thing up, and then I will come back and then we'll see how the weighted gauge is working out for us. While I'm waiting for that to come to pressure, I'm just kind of going through my seeds. I have this seed packet here. I picked it up at the dollar store. I've actually had really, really good luck with dollar store seeds. So I'm debating what we're gonna put in that garden bed where the beets were. It's gonna have to be something that can tolerate a little bit less sun. Now this Swiss chard does say that it prefers a full sun. I planted Swiss chard last year in the bed that my onions were in. Like right after I pulled the onions in July, I planted some Swiss chard and it exploded. Like I had a Swiss chard all the way until pretty much November. It survived a couple of frosts and it was amazing in the heat. Like it just would not die. So I'm wondering if we don't eat a lot of Swiss chard. Again, I'm the only one that really will eat it. I'm the one that kind of prefers like the dark leafy greens. I love the taste of them. So Steven's not really gonna eat it very much. So I'm trying to decide what we should put in that bed. I can't really do another round of radishes in there because it's too hot for radishes, but that's normally actually where my radish bed is. I don't know. I don't know what we should do. If you guys have any ideas, please leave it in the comments below, because I am trying to think of what to put into that garden bed next, because I can't, like I said, I can't really put those tomatoes in there because they like sun. So I don't know. Again, if you have any ideas, please leave it in the comments for me, because I would really like to be able to fill that bed with something. It's been venting for the 10 minutes now, so what we're gonna do is put our weighted gauge on it. I get nervous the first time I have to use something new like this, especially when it's like a pressure canner. I get nervous. So let's bring this up to 10 pounds of pressure, and then we will start the timer for our 30 minutes. All right, so we came to pressure. We came to the 10 pounds of pressure. So I came in and it was running around 12 pounds of pressure. I noticed that I hadn't turned the heat down to low. That's usually where I have to keep it to maintain my 10 pounds of pressure. So what I did was I just came in, turned it down a little bit, and now I'm just gonna kind of monitor it. It seems to be hovering around 11, which is good. That means that it's maybe doing its thing. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how to use these because this is new to me. So I think I'm doing it right because it doesn't seem to be fluctuating anywhere. So I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna bring my laundry in because it is completely dry now. And then I'm gonna double check it and see if it's maintaining the 10 pounds, because if that works, it's gonna be so nice to have that, to not have to worry about babysitting it anymore. So we'll come back once these things are all ready to come out of the canner. We were successful. It really maintained around 11 pounds of pressure. Sometimes it went up to 12. I still kind of had to babysit it though, because it actually wanted to drop down more than it wanted to rise up. So I think it's just my element. Because I have an electric stove, it is very finicky. So I don't want to dismiss that. I'm gonna try a couple other canning projects before I can really refer it to you guys. So I know I said I would have it linked in the description, but I'm actually not gonna link it because I can't strongly recommend it yet for you guys, because again, I've only tried it this one time. I want to give it a couple more tries before I recommend it to you guys. So that is all done. We're gonna wait for that to come down from pressure because I just took it off the element. Once that comes to pressure, I will come back and show you guys what it looks like coming out of the canner. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. When I go out and harvest things, I usually like to get them processed within that time frame because they are at their peak freshness. So I thought it would be cool to take you guys along and kind of show you the start to finish process of how I get things on my pantry shelf. So again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.